I mean, my sport and my bike has given me so many gifts. And so the Be Good Foundation really just focuses on, ride projects, getting bikes in people's hands, and, protecting our outdoor spaces and public lands where we do need to go for our nature therapy and healing. And the bike is a lot more than sport for most of us. It really is our health, our mental wellness, our therapy, our church, our community that we connect with people.
Exactly.
So it's a big tool. And yeah, the Be Good Foundation is all about putting that tool in more people's hands.
I'm Patrick Van Horn. This is the How We Live podcast. And in this episode, the Queen of Pain, Rebecca Rusch. It is terrific to get a chance to talk with you again. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. Thank you. I'm admiring your studio there. That is impressive.
Well, it's just a room in my house where I keep all the bikes because I don't want to keep this stuff out in the garage. What is the saying?
Yeah.
How many bikes do you need? N+1. That's how many bikes
exactly.
I need. What have you been doing over the last few weeks, Rebecca?
Well, I came out from, I rode the Iditarod Trail Invitational in Alaska, a self-support bike packing event. And this was really blowing up while I was on the trail with no communication. And my husband and I came out to a new world. And really since we got home March 7th and have been home since then. And I think like most people, I'm enjoying, I love where I live. So I am enjoying being at home, but definitely a challenge with, race calendars and event calendars and all the things that we had planned, Sea Otter and all those things obviously aren't happening right now. And so
Sure.
What I'm doing at home, obviously trying to stay safe, but also try to stay motivated and try to reevaluate how do I achieve my goals and my mission with some different tactics. And so it's not easy. There's a lot of ups and downs for sure, but it is forcing people and businesses to be very creative. And so, yeah, I'm learning some things like this podcasting and technology that I didn't really want to embrace, but here we are.
Yeah, that's right. Zoom has become the best friend for so many people in the United States. Certainly for those of us that live in at Giant, we do every meeting now via Zoom. So it's become a lifeline for us. You joined Liv. You joined the family with Liv fairly recently. You came out to meet with all of us at Liv and Giant in the early part of February during our national sales meeting. It was great to get a chance to meet you. Why Liv? Why Liv?
It's super exciting. And this is my first year with Liv and Giant as a family. And I feel like even though it's a new relationship, I actually feel like I'm coming home and I'm in the right place. Liv is exciting to me for a few different reasons. One, it was the first mountain bike company, cycling company to really embrace women as athletes on their own terms, on their own turf. And, I've always admired from afar the work that Giant as a company and Liv have done, with the launch of that brand. And so I have a lot of friends who've ridden for Liv over the years, and I've been watching, and I've always been really impressed with their place in the community. Honestly, for me, at this point in my career, it's kind of a dream to be working with such a large platform and a company that I feel personally aligned with. And so the reason why, to answer your question, two reasons. One, I feel like my philosophy is really aligned with Liv and Giant of, getting more people on bikes, having fun, going fast. And the second reason is that, I have a lot of goals and dreams and things that I want to do with my riding and my foundation. And this is just such a bigger platform to be able to reach more people, inspire myself. And so I just feel like it's the best fit. And like I said, like I'm finally coming home and I'm where I should be finally at this point in my career.
Let's talk about your career for a minute. Let's talk about the Queen of Pain, a 7-time world champion. You you have never shied away from a challenge. You embrace challenge after challenge after challenge. And that's, I think, why that Queen of Pain moniker came along.
People ask me this all the time, like, when are you going to stop racing? When are you going to stop, torturing yourself? And really the answer is never. I have evolved from different types of races, from 24-hour mountain bike races to Leadville type races, and now a lot of bike packing and exploratory self-support races like the Iditarod. And that's just been an evolution of my riding. So when people ask, when are you going to quit? It's never, because this is, one, it's my job, but it's also what I really would do in my pastime anyway, in my off time anyway. And so, the arc of my career has been really cool, from being just a racer and focusing 100% on that to now being, still a racer, doing big expeditions with the foundation, with partners like Liv and Giant, and some events of my own now. And so I'm not done racing, but there's a lot more to the picture right now. And, the time when I was doing the Blood Road film tour, promoting the most important ride of my life, which was down the Ho Chi Minh Trail, I got away from riding for quite a while, the year of that film tour, and I wasn't very happy. And so I did realize that, part of my mission statement must include me challenging myself. It's great to challenge and inspire other people, but if I'm not continuing to challenge and inspire myself, then there's a big part of it missing.
When you came out to join us for the national sales meeting, we had a chance to screen Blood Road, and I was amazed. I had not seen it. I had not seen it before that, and I was just amazed at how moving it was, how exciting it was, but how moving it was.
June 5th, 1971. Dear Judy, Sharon, and Becky, regardless of any opinions I have about this war or any other, it is hard to think about the killing that I will be doing.
Go fighter 6-1, come on target. Step fighter 6-1 is hit. Hard, mayday. Go fighter 6-1, eject.
My father was shot down in the Vietnam War. And ever since his remains were identified, I've been planning an expedition to ride the entire length of the Ho Chi Minh Trail, to search for the place where his plane went down, and to discover the circumstances surrounding his death.
I try to rationalize and say that it has to be done, but I can't see why.
This journey is so complex, I can't do it alone.
Cả bác của tôi và bố tôi đều đã trải qua cuộc kháng chiến chống Mỹ. Trong cái thời điểm đó thì người Mỹ là một kẻ thù cần phải tiêu diệt.
I'll need a riding partner, a support team, and a guide.
It's a large area search. There'd be a very small possibility of any evidence of the actual crash itself.
Unfortunately, finding a 40-year-old crash site is incredibly complicated.
Apparently, the excavation site would be roughly down here.
We have to get permission from a
Village chief.
We were to meet the village chief who had the land that the crash site was on.
Cái khó khăn rất lớn đó là làm sao vượt qua được những rào cản của giữa con người với người để con người sống với nhau cùng cảm nhận.
I can't find a way through.
If anything should happen, please don't let me die to the children.
To hear the passages that your father wrote to you and your sister and your mom, to hear those passages read in the documentary and your feelings about that was very moving to me. It's just a terrific film. Congratulations, and congratulations on the number of awards that it's won.
Thank you. Yeah, it was quite a journey, and really the most important ride of my life, where, that ride was 5 years ago, but it really was the culmination physically of everything I've done in my career. And then emotionally connecting with my family And the third part is that ride really helped me find my purpose in my career and being able to combine the bike with doing good. And that's part of launching the foundation. And so it's been really exciting that I feel like, I went on that ride. I feel like my dad brought me on that ride to actually teach me and father me and kind of show me, like, Rebecca, this is the next evolution of your career. This is what you're meant to be doing. And I finally feel like I know what I'm meant to be doing for the first time in my life at age 51. I'm like, okay, my dad told me what I need to be doing, but it's been really amazing that my sort of sport has been able to combine with an important mission and using my bike really for healing and empowerment in myself, but also other people.
The Be Good Foundation is named for the way your father would end his letters home to you guys. Be good. Tell us about the mission of the Be Good Foundation.
Yeah, he wrote those words in every letter that he sent home from Vietnam. And, he crashed when I was 3. So I never really knew the man. And so I'm getting to know him through his letters, through the songs he sang, through people that knew him, through my mom's stories. And, when I was on the Ho Chi Minh Trail, one of the biggest surprises to me that I was unaware of were all of the bombs, the unexploded bombs that are still left along the Ho Chi Minh Trail in Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia. And a war that ended 50 years ago is still killing people. And I know my father had remorse over, the work that he was doing there. And so I came away from Blood Road feeling very distinctly like I didn't know about this issue. I have to do something about it. This place that I've seen on my bike, this beautiful place. And so that was the impetus to launch the Be Good Foundation, was to try to do something about the unexploded ordnance along the trail and help clear them up. And so initially, when I started the foundation, and we're just a brand new foundation, and the initial goal was to clear up unexploded ordnance in Laos in my dad's name. That has expanded now to our mission statement is to use the bike as a vehicle for healing and evolution, and in communities from Idaho to Laos to Africa. And so, one of my main sort of areas of concentration is along the Ho Chi Minh Trail, cleaning up the unexploded ordnance. But I also work with World Bicycle Relief to provide bikes for healthcare workers and students in Africa, People for Bikes that provide infrastructure for cycling in the U.S. and locally, some of our high school cycling leagues. And so it really is about how the bike can be a tool for somebody to, whether it's getting to school in Africa or learning confidence as a young high school rider. And so, my sport and my bike has given me so many gifts. And so the Be Good Foundation really just focuses on, ride projects, getting bikes in people's hands, and, protecting our outdoor spaces and public lands where we do need to go for our nature therapy and healing. And the bike is a lot more than sport for most of us. It really is our health, our mental wellness, our therapy, our church, our community that we connect with people.
Exactly.
So it's a big tool. And the Be Good Foundation is all about putting that tool in more people's hands.
You have, you're involved in so many things, and one of them is taking challenge tours back to Laos. That's one of the things that you're doing. And you have an event coming up called the Giddy Up Challenge, coming up closer to Memorial Day. What is the Giddy Up Challenge?
I do. Well, the Giddy Up Challenge is part of our creativity in the time of social distancing and staying home. Rebecca's Private Idaho is one of my biggest Be Good fundraising. It is my biggest Be Good fundraising event of the year. And that's a big gravel event with 1,500 people over Labor Day weekend. We don't yet know if that's going to happen, if it will be safe to collect everybody together. And so I started thinking about how can I still meet my Be Good fundraising goals, through the Private Idaho platform, even if everybody isn't here. And so I'm launching a Giddy Up Challenge, and a few purposes. One, to support, to keep Private Idaho out there in the forefront for people, to motivate people. I've been struggling to have motivation with nothing on the calendar to train for. And so part of it was selfish motivation of like, I need something to kick me in the butt and make me do the hard work. And I know other people are struggling with that too. And so the Giddy Up Challenge, I'm going to launch it on Memorial Day weekend. And I'm going to attempt to do an Everesting challenge, which is doing the vertical elevation of Mount Everest in one day. And so that's 29,029 feet. And I'm going to ride that on the first climb of Private Idaho is about a 2,000 foot climb up to Trail Creek Summit. So I'm launching the challenge so riders can take on the Everesting, the big one, or they can do, there's kind of levels at about 15,000 feet, which is the mashed potato route. We have all these potato themes in Idaho. And then there's one that's about 10,000 feet of climbing, and that's the twice baked potato, and then 5,000 feet, which is the baked potato. And so riders will sign up, for $20. The money will go to the Be Good Foundation and directly to COVID related efforts that World Bicycle Relief are doing for healthcare workers in Africa and People for Bikes, and then also the CDC Foundation that is working towards, finding vaccines and those sorts of things. So it's a fundraising goal for Be Good, but also really, hopefully, a motivating goal for riders out there around the world. So any day, Memorial Day weekend, riders can join me virtually or at home if they're allowed to go outside, and they can pick a hill climbing challenge, and we'll all ride together that weekend. And
Great
I really
idea.
wanted to do it on Memorial Day in honor of my dad and the Be Good Foundation and the reason I launched the foundation. So I'm excited. I know I was doing my training this morning. I was just thinking about 29,000 feet in one day. And I've never done that. I don't know if you have, but it's a pretty big goal.
It's daunting. It's daunting. That's a lot of climbing. And
if I fail, I got in a great way. If I do 28,000 feet, it's not really a failure. It's,
exactly. Exactly. And how big is the climb outside your door? What is that? How big?
It's about 2,000 feet. So, if you do the math, that's many, many times up the hill. It depends if somebody has 100-foot hill near their house, they can do it. You can do it on your trainer indoors and just, track the elevation. So hopefully, and it can be run or bike. So I wanted to make it really accessible for anybody and basically just a giant group ride, alone but together, over Memorial Day weekend for a great cause.
It's a great idea, and it is a great cause. It's a great cause. It will be exciting and interesting to watch and see how this goes, to see how you do.
Will you do the baked or the twice baked or the mashed or the Everest?
I might just stick with baked, I might just stick with baked. Yes. Perfect for me. Perfect for me. We recently talked with Casey Armstrong. Speaking of Rebecca's Private Idaho, we recently talked with Casey Armstrong in one of these podcasts. She has been a winner at Rebecca's Private Idaho. She loves the race. She just loves the race.
I think she's our only athlete, male, female, that has doubled up and won twice.
Yeah. Yeah. And when Casey and I were talking about it, and this was when we reviewed stuff, in light of the coronavirus, we were just hoping that everybody is safe and that things get under control and that it can happen again, because it's just such a terrific race and so many people look forward to it.
Well, it will happen again, even if it doesn't happen in 2020.
That's a good point.
Like you said, I'm the queen of perseverance as well. And so we will have Private Idaho again. And even if it doesn't happen this year, and we're a recreation economy here where we live, and it's a big event for our community and our businesses, but I'm not going to do it if it's not safe and it puts anyone at risk. I absolutely won't do it. But I hope we're all healed and moving around and riding together again by that date.
You mentioned the Iditarod race that you were doing in early March. Can you tell us about that race? Tell us how long that was. Just go over what that was like.
Yeah, so the Iditarod Trail Invitational is a human-powered race, bike, foot, or ski that takes place on the infamous Iditarod Trail dog sled race. So same course, You can do the short version, which is 350 miles. I did that last year and this year, or the 1,000-mile full length of the course. And so I've been slowly gaining experience in winter expedition, self-supported bike expeditions to hopefully one day do the 1,000-mile. But I did the 350 last year. It took me 3.5 days to cover the distance. This year I was way more prepared, way more fit, really dialed with my equipment. And it took me twice as long, 7 days on the trail. And that really was just condition dependent. Mother Nature really unleashed on us this year with really heavy snows and high winds and minus 40-degree temperatures. And it really is, the most committing thing I've ever done. A mistake out there is very consequential. And what I love, people always ask, why do you go do these super hard things? And, I really do feel that the trail is my teacher, and I learn and elevate who I am when I'm in a really tough situation. And, I can't help but think of the sort of juxtaposition of coming out from a really hard physical and emotional expedition like that, where safety is a concern, and coming out to a global pandemic and realizing that I'm having to draw from some of the same resources and the same lessons that I use on the trail now, and it's not that different. And so as hard as Alaska was, I feel like we always say that we're training for races, and we're training, preparing for the next race. And it's become really apparent to me that those races are really training me for life.
What bike were you on? By the way, Liv appreciates the fact that you do have a bike there in the background. We really appreciate it.
I got to do my first home mountain bike ride this last weekend. The trails are just drying up, so I got to ride this Peak. And I love that bike so much. I had so much fun on Saturday. It was really good. So yeah, it's all dirty, which is the way a mountain bike should be.
It's the way it should look. Absolutely. Absolutely. What do you like about it? What works about it? What do you like about the bike?
Well, first of all, she's beautiful. You look at that glittery paint job, and when the sun catches it, it actually changes color. It's kind of a chameleon sort of paint job that I really love. But I love this bike because it really is a do everything mountain bike for me, in that I feel like I could do endurance racing on it. I could ride pretty technical terrain on it. And so, it's obviously, like you said, N+1, we want to have, a ton of bikes in our garage, but the honest truth is, what's the one that you grab for all the time? And not everybody can have a ton of bikes. So I do feel like if I had one bike, this would be it.
Awesome. Awesome stuff. Rebecca, this has been awesome to talk to you. It's gone a little longer than I intended, but it's just been so cool. We didn't get a chance to chat much when you were out here in early February, so I really appreciate the opportunity to do that.
We need to make sure we'll get together again soon, and hopefully I have a request that we do our next interview on bicycles.
Yes, I love the idea. You're going to have to slow down for me. I can't do 29,000 feet. I might be able to do 5, but I can't do 29,000 feet.
Well, we'll get to ride together then Memorial Day weekend for the Giddy Up Challenge.
Yeah. All right. And we look forward to that, and look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you for chatting with us today. Way cool.
Absolutely. Thanks a ton.
Right.
Be good.
All right. You too. Bye-bye.